Hi! Look where I am. I'm in London this weekend in Camden and I'm outside HOB, Academy and Salon. I'm going to be going inside in a minute and guess who I'm going to meet? Sean Dawson, London Hairdresser of the Year, and Akin Konizi, 4 times British Hairdresser of the Year. I cannot wait. Come on, let's go! Hi Sean.
How are you?
How are you? I've known and admired you for years. Thank you so much for saying yes to meeting and talking with me today. I know these last few weeks must have just been mental.
Crazy.
But with every interview I do, I really do love to get to know a little bit about you from the early years.
Well, born in East London. My father was an accountant. He was sort of self-taught. He originally was in the army, and then he drove a lorry for a few years, and then went to night school and got his accountancy qualifications. And my mum was a window dresser, so yeah, and she's also an artist. So I guess I get my creativity from that. But lived in East London until I was about 13, and then we moved out more towards Essex. It was a great upbringing. I loved it. I loved, I was very lucky. Young man, great family life.
Very good. And where did you get your inspiration to become a hairdresser?
Well, actually, as you can see by the hat, I've got really difficult hair, and I think for years my mum used to take me to a barber, and I just had the worst haircuts. You know, when I got to a sort of teenage, when you want to be cool and trendy, it was horrendous. I hated it. And then what I did was when I started doing a sort of Saturday job, I saved up my money and decided to go to a London salon to have it cut properly. And from that minute, I fell in love with the whole atmosphere, the music playing. You know, everyone looked like they were having really good fun. There were loads of women working in there, so I was hooked from that moment. Yeah, so yeah, it was great.
The buzz.
The buzz, yeah, totally. Yeah. Just the fact that it looked like fun. Yeah.
It feels like home.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does now.
How do you get a chance to balance it all, being the general manager here?
Yeah, I mean, general manager, the great thing is every day is different. I'm based here at the Academy, and I work a lot with the educators and the systems and structures that we put in place as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm often in the salons meeting with the franchisees. Every day I'm doing something different. It's a variety. I don't sleep a lot and I work a lot of hours, but again, I love it. There's never been a day when I've got up in the morning and thought, oh, I've got to go to work because of the work.
Yeah.
A few hundred hangovers, but never the work.
Yeah, you just love it.
I love it, yeah, absolutely.
And tell me, we go to a couple of weeks ago. How did you feel when your name was called?
Amazing. It was my 3rd time being nominated, and we have a little bit of a thing here at HOB where we always seem to win on the 3rd time, so I was quite nervous that I'd break that tradition. But yeah, I spent 18 months, a good 18 months, 2 years on that collection, perfecting it.
Amazing collection.
So it was, I thought I should have won, but you never know. You know, there was 5 other great collections there. It hasn't really sunk in, I think. It's, but I'm very proud, and I was proud to be nominated again, but amazing feeling to win it.
Well done. Where did you get your inspiration for this collection?
I think for the one that I just won London with, I decided to take 2 years out creatively, because I think, number one, I wasn't enjoying it, but I'd done a lot of travelling. My role had changed at work, and I decided that I wasn't as in love with it, and I thought if I'd take a 2-year break and then see at the end of that whether I'd fallen back in love with it. And I lasted about 6 months, and then I just started thinking, okay, literally all my spare time was about hair, but I wanted to come back with this collection with a bang, and I get frustrated when hairdressers or people in fashion industry say nothing's new, and it's always borrowed from another time, and I don't agree with that. And I was lucky that I had the sort of 18 months to really think about what I wanted to do. and actually then really challenge myself to see if I could come up with something new. And the inspiration behind this was actually the old 70s skinhead haircut, which had the very sort of cropped areas and then these sort of long bits that came down, and I'd never sort of seen that type of look with the strength of the line. So it's still, for me, although this is so severe, the beauty of the collection was in the strengths of the line. And what I wanted to try and do is to create something that was like, you know, if you looked from 6 foot away, it would look like a bob, and if you came closer, you were like, wow, oh my God, it's got no hair around the crown. And so, yeah, I was obsessed with the technique, and I went through so many head blocks and messed it up so many times. And my style is very much about what I want to do is make something look beautiful, but make it look simple to the eye, and, you know, but actually technically it's really difficult. So there was a lot of work went into it, and I think that's why, you know, I was so thrilled to win it, that the judges actually saw that. But that is me. I mean, with a collection-wise, yes, I'm influenced by things, but I learned a story once from a magician, which I love. I was talking to a magician who was a client, who said to me, and I basically said, he'd been to a convention, and I said, well, how do you learn a new trick? And he said, what I do is I go and I go to this convention, I buy a trick, or somebody teaches me a trick, and then what I do is I take it home and I read the instructions, and then I tear them up, and then I make it my own in that way. And that's what I do, is I get inspired by something, and it might be a picture, it might be anything, it might be something that somebody's done, and then I think, yeah, I love that, and then I look at how they've done it, and then I tear it up and think, now I'm going to do it how I do it. And yeah, it's a little bit obsessive, but it works for me, and I just think, you know, it challenges me each time, and, you know, already now I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next year, which is good.
What do you love in the industry? What do you love about the industry?
Love about the industry. I love the fact that, you know, we're so driven. We never stand still as an industry. And I don't think we get the credit for that. I mean, often creatively, yes, that's a little bit more obvious, but even business-wise, there's, you know, such successful businesses out there that don't get the credit that they really deserve. I love developing not just myself but other people. I mean, that's you know, the sense of achievement at the end of the day, especially when you're educating, and you know, and to be able to think that you've given over some knowledge and expanded that person. So yeah,
and it's watching somebody grow, you know, from timid to becoming something amazing and just blossoming, like, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's like, you know, this company is all about progression, and it's whether you're a first-year assistant or whether you're general manager. We still look all the time about that person's, you know, wants to progress and where they want to progress to. So yeah, I love that part of our industry.
Because the academy here is amazing.
Yeah,
I'm taking great inspiration from your mirrors. I'm having the full-length mirrors for doing demos and stuff.
Yeah, we've had the academy here for 6 years now. The beauty with Camden and why it was put here is, you know, our model bank is incredible. I mean, we get some amazing models here at Camden, and yeah, it's hard work and it's tough, but it's it's enjoyable as well.
And on the other side of the thing, then, what do you hate about the industry, or is there anything that you hate?
Hate. Oh, I think hate's a strong word. I think if
you could change something that you dislike.
If I could change, the main thing I'd change is probably the perception of hairdressers. I think it's got much better over the years, and I think the last decade, you know, due to celebrity hairdressers and I think Tony and Guy had a big impact on the public's perception of a hairdresser in a positive way. And I always say, I mean, you know, you just have to look at hairdressers. They educate through their whole career. You know, they're so dedicated to their career. So yeah, the public perception would definitely be number one. What else would I change? I think, for me, I think about the you know, this company is built on education. My career's been built on education. And I think we did go through a point in the industry, maybe again a decade ago, where unfortunately the sort of standard of training dropped a little bit, and I think we've done an amazing job to start to bring that back, but I'd still like to see that improve, especially at the early part, the fundamental part of the career. I think for me it's about learn. You know, the day I stop learning is the day that I wouldn't.
Because it's easy to get stuck in a rut, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's actually easy to, I think it's easier sometimes to skip the fundamentals, the foundation. You know, I always say to people, when you know the rules and you know them well, you can break them. But I think we did go through a time where a lot of young hairdressers sort of lacked that foundation sort of education, and I think we, you know, we're doing well to get that back again.
Yeah, I think like academy like ours, we're going to keep on knocking that in from the get-go when they're so fresh, so young.
Absolutely, and I think it's, you know, it's important. I think it is the, you know, as I say, is the number one thing is to get your fundamentals right. Yeah.
Because I was just going to say, what advice would you give to someone who's even in the industry to keep on going?
I mean, educate yourself as best as you can. I mean, you know, not just creatively, not just, you know, I think it's important that you know, you invest in your education, even in your life, you know, like in the way that you are. It's not just about a haircut or a colour. You know, for me, the best hairdressers are the ones that have that complete package. Communication is key. I think as you move into management, and especially ownership, you know, education it needs to be even stronger, and it needs to be, you know, it needs to be more consistently. You need to be doing it more. You need to be learning. You should be like a sponge and learning, because I think what tends to happen when you go into management or you go into ownership is what you're looking at all the time is educating your team, and you tend to forget that you still need that inspiration. But actually, I mean, communication is key. You know, how to manage a team is key. All of them aspects, you should just be like a sponge, just be learning. It's not just about cut and colour.
So that's the advice that you would give to salon owners as well? And
definitely.
Keep on training.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, to be a great leader, you know, yes, you have to, you know, you have to be the one, you have to inspire, yes, you have to lead by example, yes, you have to be consistent, yes, but communication for me is the key. And, you know, communication is a skill. You learn it and you develop it, and you know, I've never met anyone that communicates well that does it naturally. It's something that you have to perfect and learn. So I think anyone that's in that leadership role, that's the key.
You said a very important word there, inspire. Who inspired you, or was it what inspired you? Was there a particular person, celebrity, close person that inspired you to get where you wanted to go and to achieve things you wanted to achieve?
I think I've been inspired by so many people, but interestingly enough, I would say I'm very lucky. Again, my parents inspired me a lot. My dad, because of this, teaching himself to be an accountant, you know, to be driven enough to actually, you know, to go and, you know, do night school for, I think he did for about 6 years to get his qualifications, and that's real dedication. Unfortunately, we lost my dad when I was 19, and my mum then became my inspiration in the fact that the way that she handled that, I mean, was amazing. You know, my mum has always been the perfect icon in never give up. You know, it's like, no matter how hard it feels or tough it is, you know what, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, learn from what you did wrong and carry on forward. So if I was, they're my biggest inspirations. And business-wise, again, so many. I've been very lucky to work with people, you know, Dawson Smith, obviously, you know very well, you know, had a massive impact on my career. And some of the people that I work for, Sean Henner, again, great business brain, and working here, my 3 directors now, you know, Akin, amazing inspiration creatively, and also, you know, taught me not to compromise. That was a major turning point. And Paul and Clive, in 2 completely different ways, you know, an inspiration.
All amazing people to be looking up to.
Yeah, good fun as well. It has to be fun.
It has
to. You know, for me, you know.
Or else it gets boring.
Yeah, and also it's very, you know, again, I learned, you know, if it's not fun, you can't focus, and you know, yeah, it's a serious business, and at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, profit and whatever. But you know, we need to have fun.
Yeah. And finally, Sean, what advice would you give someone who wants to come into the hairdressing industry?
Oh, what advice would I give to a young person or any person coming into the industry? For me, it's education, education, education. As you know, you've got your school, so it really is about, you know, not just learning the fundamentals of cut and colour, but, you know, learning how to interact as well with a client, learning how to communicate with clients and with your team, you know, but really, really, you know, becoming almost like a maniac, becoming almost obsessed with learning everything and perfecting it and practicing it before you move on to the next bit.
Brilliant.
I mean, I said before about hairdressing is always progressing, and I love what you're doing with the, you know, to come in line with Alan and the fantastic hairdresser, you know, because that's so important. It isn't just about learning to cut, learning to colour, learning to perm. There's so many different aspects, and you know, it is about developing people and young people, or any person. And that's what this industry does. So I think that link's great, and you know, and linking in with us. I mean, as I say, I mean, our whole company and our passion is education, and we love to share. And it's, you know, whatever level, whatever age somebody is, you know, we really feel that we can add something, not just to their skill set, but the way that they think and the psychology behind haircut and colour as well. So I think you're doing, you know, I think it's great, and I think, you know, you're gonna have so much fun as well. So yeah, well done.
Sean, thank you so much for saying yes to meeting with me today. Absolutely amazing. Everything that I thought you were going to be, you have been. Wow, and thank you.
Pleasure. No, it's been great. It's like, I look forward to popping over to Ireland and seeing you.
Absolutely. Yes, love to have you.